Hello, hi, it's the Rev Pepsi here, and I just want to bring up a comment, make a comment on Sam Gipp's recording. What's the big deal about the KJV, episode 4? I do find there are very few King James onlyists who actually appreciate the linguistic aspects of their argument and the impact their argument has on the English language and how it's been passed down, particularly when referring to the King James Bible, which was such an influential book. It was a notable milestone in the development of the English language that cannot be denied. Sam Gipp says, we still speak King James English today. We don't. In fact, we never have. Okay? A linguistic analysis will tell you we have never spoken King James English. If you look in the linguistic timeline of the English language, you'll never see King James English, period. Okay, the actual timeline dates the period of the King James Bible being published in a period of the English language development known as early modern English. So yes, it is a form of modern English, and it was the start when we were coming out of this period of the influence of the French Norman conquest, where French came into the language a lot, and everything was becoming structured. Our dialects, and particularly our the printing aspect, standardising the way we wrote and printed our books, etc., was beginning to come into effect, and leading on into the modern age, and to what some linguists now are referring to what we speak today as late modern English, because of course we've got the internet. English has been spoken around the world, or shall I say various Englishes are being spoken around the world, and they're now coming back. All the Creoles are coming back, all the Pidgins are coming back, and influencing the oldest forms of English there are, which is being British English and Australian English and American English being the three main blocks of the more traditional styles, although British English is the oldest, and now that is affecting how English is spoken around the world, and how English is viewed around the world because of all these influences, because of the World Wide Web and globalization. And in his book, in his video, Sam Gipp is bigging up the King James, saying it's been a big influence in the English language, and he quotes three expressions that are used. He says that we still speak King James English. No, we don't. It's early modern English, but he quotes three expressions which are commonplace: skin of my teeth, at my wit's end, and drop of a bucket. Drop of a bucket was quite new to me, and in his book actually, David Christo explains why. Okay, drop of a bucket is used in Isaiah, and we have a modern saying of that which we use. We use the modern saying. He acknowledges that in America, drop of a bucket, or as he says in here, sometimes people will say drop in a bucket, is very common in the United States, in American English to be spoken. We would say in British English, a drop in the ocean. Okay, it's water into a container, whatever size it is, which a drop at the end on the large scale of things doesn't really matter at all, because there is so much water in there anyway. That's the idiom. That's the metaphoric effect of that statement. Skin of my teeth comes from Job. At my wit's end comes from the Psalms. And Sam puts the argument saying, yes, we still speak King James English in this our modern age. It might be old, but it's still in use, and it's still good. Okay, but what he doesn't say, and I'm not here to decry the King James Bible at all. Just because I don't believe it should be used exclusively doesn't mean I'm against it. And as an English linguist, I have a great love and respect for the King James Bible. Like I say, I own a 1611 copy at home. and which I got for Christmas last year. So Christmas 2012. Skin of my teeth. This is what Sam didn't mention on here, which I think is important just to put things into perspective as to the influence of the King James Bible. We're not influenced by the King James Bible. We are influenced by the Bible as a whole. And this is why I think it's important to actually bring this up. The term skin of my teeth, before it was in the King James, was in the Geneva Bible, which is much older. It was a common form, okay? As a common expression, yes, people used to say it, but it wasn't first published by the King James publishers, the King James translators. It's in the Geneva Bible. Drop of a bucket, they say, if we were to put a modern version in the Bible of a drop in the ocean, it means exactly the same thing, and it's what we would use here in England. Okay, you Americans out there would not just, you'd be saying, you're changing the word of God, you're a heathen, you're going to hell on hell. That's what some of you King James onlyists are saying. But we as English, we use the phrase drop in the ocean. But drop in a bucket is in the King James. It was used in the Wycliffe Bible, the Geneva Bible, the Douay-Rheims Bible, before it was published in the King James. We don't owe it to the King James Bible, we owe it to the Bible as a whole. So the only one of those three, which is a King James Bible quotation, is I'm at my wit's end. Sam repeats it twice in this video. That's not how it appears in Psalms 107. The phrase is their wit's end. It's not I'm at my wit's end, it's their wit's end. It's speaking about other people. So the application of it is slightly off in the ways Sam is saying, but that's the only one of the three that is unique to the King James. He doesn't mention that. Nor will he mention what actually David Crystal, who wrote the book, begat. There are other books out there which are very interesting. This is done from a linguistics perspective and concentrates a lot on the expressions on there. He points out there's only about 250 common biblical expressions which we get from the King James Bible. When we say we get them from the King James Bible, they are in the King James Bible. Okay, but out of those 250, only 18. There's only 250 expressions, and only 18 of them are unique to the King James. All the others, the other 232, all come from the Wycliffe, the Tyndale, the Geneva, the Bishops, and the Douay-Rheims, in the format that they're in the King James. Sometimes they are slightly different expressions in the other Bibles. For example, here we go. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. From Matthew 26:41. Okay, that phrase is exactly the same in Tyndale's version, in the Bishops, in the Douay-Rheims, and in the King James. However, the Wycliffe says the spirit is ready, but the flesh is sick. The Geneva Bible says the spirit is indeed ready, but the flesh is weak. Okay, so there's a lot to be said about quotations and stuff. It was purely that the King James Bible was mass produced, state authorized. It was the state Bible, and it went everywhere because of that. As a particular, for a variety of political reasons, as well as to ensure that the boy who pusheth the ploughshare can also read the Bible. There is political reasons for it as well, which are often overlooked, especially by the King James onlyists when they're promoting this. So as you can see, something interesting to look at. Thanks for listening.